the project.
How many copies is that? Do you have 15 copies for the members?
Unfortunately, Chair, I need to apologize. I only have one copy.
The guidance CS, I will admit your addendum reluctantly for the simple reason that we have our permanent witnesses who are more than 7. The honorable members of the committee are 10. The minimum acceptable copies for an addendum to be accepted here is 15 copies. So it's such a good day. Not all the days are the same. I'll use my discretion to admit the addendum.
Thank you, Chair.
You can go ahead.
Page 1, Chair, of the report. The query is an implemented planned project, failure to follow ministerial guidelines. Cause of query, management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query was as a result of the delay in mobilization by the contractors awarded to construct the maternity annexes at Ririashi, Mulombe, and the Slowana health posts, leading to the termination and also the other maternity annexes were undergoing procurement process. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the contracts were retendered and awarded on the 8th of October 2024, scheduled to start on the 8th of October 2024 and scheduled to complete on the 18th of January 2025. Further, management wishes to report that the construction of the maternity wing at Nasikona Health Post is still ongoing and it is at 95%, scheduled to be completed by 15th May 2025. In addition, Chair, the construction of the Ritoya Maternity Annex, Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 is scheduled to start by 15th of May 2025. The other 6 maternity annexes, Chair, are yet to be allocated funds and are undergoing project appraisal. The supporting documents, Chair, are attached on Appendix 1. Remedial measure, management to ensure that all the projects are completed on time and allocate enough funds through the CDFC for the construction of the maternity, for the remaining 6 maternity annexes. Page 2, Chair, on the construction of dormitory block at Nambaye Secondary School. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to resubmit that the cause of query was due to the termination of the contract with Tatami General Dealers because of poor workmanship. Action taken, Chair. Management wishes to submit that the works were retendered and awarded to another contractor and the project is at 95% completion. Management has since engaged the newly created legal unit staff at the local authority to revisit the contract for possible legal action for the liquidation damages. Chair, the evidence is on Appendix 2. Remedial measure, management to ensure that the works are expedited and completed on time. Query number C, delayed completion of mother's shelter at Slowana Rural Health Center. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query is due to the termination of the contract with Tatami General Dealers due to poor workmanship and lack of proper management of workers at site and also failure to pay obligations of the workers employed locally. Action taken, management wishes to report that the works were retendered and the contract was awarded to Rio Chris General Dealers Limited. However, the contractor failed to mobilize and the contract has also been terminated. The process is now at procurement stage to engage another contractor, Chair, to complete the project. Appendix 3 speaks to the correspondences. The major measure, management will ensure that the works are always completed on time. Query D, Chair, is delayed completion of maternity wing at Naskona Rural Health Center. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to submit that the cause of query is due to the non-performance by the contractor. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the works were retendered and awarded to Edmas General Contractors, who is on site, and the works done are at 95%. The PC minutes there, Chair, for the contract and the memos on the legal unit are on the Appendix 4. The major measure, management to ensure that the works are always completed on time. Query E, Chair, delayed completion of mother shelter at the Malombe Rural Health Center. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to submit that the cause of query was due to the abandonment of the work site by the contractor. Action taken, management terminated the contract and awarded to Rio Chris General Dealers, who failed to mobilize. Currently, the process at procurement stage to engage another contractor. The correspondences, Chair, are there on Appendix 5. The major measure, management to ensure that the works are always completed on time. F, Chair, on the management of soft loans. Part 1 is diversion of funds from approved business plan as soft loans. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query was as a result of the cooperatives and clubs changing the approved projects without authority at the time of audit. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the cooperatives and clubs were engaged and were asked to write letters of application for change of business plan, and their requests were approved by the CDFC committee. The minutes and the reports, Chair, are on Appendix 6. The major measure, management to ensure that there is continued sensitization on the procedure when it comes to change of business plan. Part 2 of F, Chair, which is sharing and use of soft loans before investing in a business venture. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query was as a result of group members who did not use the loans according to the approved business and started working individually with the hope that they will make desired profits to put together and repay the loans. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the cooperatives, the clubs, were engaged and were asked to write letters of application to change business plans, and their requests were approved by the CDFC. The same Appendix 6, Chair, has the documentation. Management to ensure that there is continued sensitization on the procedures when it comes to change of business plan. F, Chair, Part 3, failure to register assets in the asset register. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and he wishes to submit that the cause of query was due to the properties bought under CDF not inscribed and not appearing in the asset register. Action taken, Chair, management wishes to submit that the assets were branded and updated in the assets register and are available for verification. The extract of the asset register is attached on Appendix 7, Chair. The major measure, management to ensure that the fixed asset register is updated every time a new asset is acquired. Query G, Chair, management of secondary boarding and school and skills development bursaries, students withdrawn from training institution, that is waste for expenditure. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to submit that the cause of query was due to to delay by the institution to refund the money that was paid for the sponsored students. Action taken. Management wishes to submit that a letter was written to Vavika Training Academy demanding for a refund of 518,125 for the 40 learners, and they have been issued with the sorry, Chair. Also for the 40 learners. So the institution, the Vavika, has been issued with a fresh certificate, and that they are open now. So now Vavika has written to the institution asking that the students can go back since they are now open to complete their training. A report has been done to CDFC to make a final decision as to whether the student can go back or we continue demanding for a refund, Chair. The correspondence between the Council and the Vavika is attached, Chair, on Appendix 8. The major measure, management wishes to submit that with newly recruited legal practitioner in the local authority at NALOLO, we will ensure that the legal process begins to follow up as quickly as possible. H, Chair, management of administrative costs and supported payments. Cause of query, management wishes to submit that the cause of query was as a result of some supporting documents not being attached to the payment vouchers at the time of audit. Action taken. Management wishes to submit that the relevant documents have been attached to the payment vouchers and are available for verification. The payment vouchers, the receipts, and the bank record statement, Chair, are attached on Appendix 9. The major measure, management wishes to submit that we will ensure that all the documents are properly filed and kept under lock and key cabinets to avoid not attaching the documents to payment vouchers. Part B, Chair, of the queries cross-cutting issues. Appendix 1, budget, finding and expenditure. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the retained funds were funds for chief's palaces and insurance of motor vehicles. Further, the balance of 2023 CDF funding against expenditure were funds reserved for 2023 CDF programs that were ongoing. Action taken. Management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of 2023 CDF performance have been completed and the results are shown in the table below. Chair, it shows there, the table shows the expenditure that we have done and as at 30th, the expenditure to date, and also the ledgers are the ones that are in the addendum that have, Chair, submitted. The major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and as per guidelines. Appendix 1.1, retained for chief palaces. Management wishes to acknowledge auditor's findings and wish to state that the retained funds of 936,751 were funds for the construction of chief's palaces. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the ledgers were updated to take care of the funds recovered at source for the chief's palaces. The Chair, we also had written to the ministry, and the letters are attached on Appendix 10. The major measures, management to ensure that the funds deducted at source are recorded in our ledgers. Appendix 2, total unspent funds, management, cause of query, Chair. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query was as a result of the balance brought forward from 2022 programs and the interest received from the CDF revolving account in 2023. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the balance brought forward was for the ongoing 2022 programs and the interest received from the CDFC revolving fund account, and further that the balance remaining at the end of the year was for ongoing 2023 projects. The reconciliation of 2023 CDF programs, Chair, as I mentioned in the table there, the balances are showing, and then also the expenditure that we have, the money, how we spent the money after the 31st of December 2023. The major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and as per guidelines. 2.1, Chair, unspent funds, that's community projects. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the balance of 2023 CDF funding against expenditure were funds reserved for 2023 community projects that were ongoing. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of 2023 community projects has been completed and the results are shown there, Chair, in the table. The major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation as per guidelines. Appendix 2.2, unspent funds for empowerment loans, grants. Cause of query, Chair, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the balance of 2023 CDF funding against expenditure were funds reserved for 2023 empowerment grants that were ongoing. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of 2023 empowerment grants has been completed and the results are shown below in the table, Chair. The major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and as per guideline. In Appendix 2.3, unspent funds on empowerment grants. Cause of query, management acknowledges the audit findings and wish to state that the balance of 2023 CDF funding against expenditure were funds reserved for 2023 empowerment grants that were ongoing, Chair. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of the empowerment grants has been completed and the results are shown in the table. Major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligations and as per guidelines. 2.4, secondary boarding and skills development, the bursaries. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the balance of 2023 CDF funding and the expenditure were funds reserved for 2023 secondary school boarding and skills development bursaries that were ongoing. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of 2023 secondary boarding and skills bursary developments bursaries have been completed and the results are shown in the same table on page 18. The major measure, Chair, will ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and by following the guidelines. Unspent funds on administrative costs. Management or cause of query, Chair, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the administrative component for 2023 CDF funding was fully utilized. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the reconciliation of 2023 funds of administrative costs had been completed and the results are shown in the table below. The major measure, management will ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per the contractual obligation and as per the CDF guidelines. Appendix 3, 2022 community projects. Cause of query, Chair, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the cause of query was that at the time of audit, 6 projects were work in progress. Action taken, management wishes to state that 4 projects are still work in progress and 2 are awaiting for top-up funding from the 2025 CDF allocation. A major measure, management ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and following the guidelines. Appendix 4, Chair, is 2023 community projects. Cause of query, Chair, that management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to submit that the cause of query was as a result of 2 ongoing and 1 outstanding projects. Action taken, management wishes to submit that the 3 projects that were work in progress were the construction of flushable toilets at Mukukutu and Mitongo primary schools and construction of a maternity wing at Naskona Rural Health Center, which are now complete. It suffices to say, Chair, that at the time of audit, the performance we were at 91%. Out of the 33 approved projects, 30 were complete and only 3 were remaining. The major measure, Chair, management will ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and as per the guidelines. Appendix 5, analysis, performance, youth, women and community grants. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the cause of query was due to over expenditure of 46,328 on youth, women and community grants. Further, the approval rate of 32% was due to some applications not meeting grants requirements and the basis of CDF committee approval. Action taken, Chair. Management wishes to submit that the allocation of youth, women and community grants was 2,151,857 and the amount spent was 2,118,200, leaving a balance of 33,657 unspent, which was carried forward to the following year. In other words, Chair, the amount budgeted for was the amount received, since there was no deduction at source for the component, this component under bursaries. The major measure, management to ensure that the adherence of budget allocation to each component of CDF is upheld. Appendix 7, failure to account for funds. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that cause of query was as a result of the community groups not utilizing funds for the intended purpose. Action taken, management wishes to state that the groups were engaged after management conducted monitoring of grants and loans. Further, the 2 groups were reported to the police for further investigation and action. So the police report, Chair, is attached to on Appendix 12. The major measure, management to ensure that CDF funds are utilized as per contractual obligation and as per guidelines. Appendix 8, performance analysis, soft loans. Management acknowledges auditor's findings and wish to state that the cause of query for the balance brought forward was the non-payment of loans in 2022. Further, the approval rate of 25% was due to some applications not meeting loan requirements and the basis for the bank's approval. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the 2022 loans were paid in 2023 and the balance brought forward was fully utilized. Further, management wishes to state that following sensitization, the applications that were not successful were the applicants, Chair, that were not successful were encouraged to apply, to reapply in the subsequent years. The unspent funds of 6,179 kwacha was carried forward to supplement future disbursement. The major measure, management to ensure that sensitizations are carried out to enable applicants meet the loan requirements. Appendix 9, Chair, failure to recover loans, cause of query. Management acknowledges auditor's findings and wish to state that the cause of query was due to the beneficiaries not adhering to the loan agreement with the bank. Action taken, management wishes to state that sensitization meetings were held encouraging the loan beneficiaries to pay back on the monthly basis. It is, however, worth noting that the loan repayment period for most of the loan beneficiaries, Chair, is between 2 and 4 years. The major measure, management to ensure that there is continuous sensitization and enhanced loan monitoring of the beneficiaries. Appendix 10, secondary boarding skills development bursaries. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wishes to state that the unspent funds were due to the low number of applicants for secondary boarding and skills training bursaries. Further, at the time of audit, 223 students were still undergoing training and were not yet due for graduation. Action taken, management wishes to state that the sensitization meetings were conducted, urging youths to apply. Further, the unallocated funds of 3.6 million chair were varied to community projects. The major measure, management to ensure that more sensitization are carried out, encouraging the youths to apply for secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Appendix 13, analysis of performance of desks, cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's findings and wish to state that the cause of query was due to the undelivered desks totaling 912 that were still being manufactured at the time of audit. Action taken, management wishes to state that all the desks have since been delivered, and as at now, NALOLO is at 100% of the desks that were required in the entire district. The acknowledgement of the desks and the delivery note chair attached under Appendix 3. The major measure, management to ensure that desks are of good quality and delivered on time. In conclusion, Chair, I wish to ensure that I want to assure the committee that the remedial measures that have been submitted to the committee will be implemented and reviewed for further improvement. Submitted for the deliberation of the committee, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Honorable Commander, points of clarifications.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. My point of clarification is on page 10.
Order. Our quorum has dropped. I wish to suspend business for 10 minutes.
Well, thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. Business has been suspended for 10 minutes. This is due to the collapse of the quorum. Remember, it is a requirement that 2/3 of the member of Parliament, should I say, the number of committee members should be present in the room for business to be considered on the floor in that committee house. So at this particular time, we take a short break and we'll be back after 10 minutes or so. Remember, the committee which is considering this report is the Local Government Accounts Committee, and the local authority that is appearing before this committee is NALOLO, and it is being led by Mr. Fantino Mwemba, who is the acting council secretary. So keep watching Parliament Television. We'll be back after 10 minutes or so. Well, the committee is back and about to reconvene and resumption of the consideration of the Auditor General's report for 2023. They just took a short break, and it seems like we do have a quorum, and we cross back to the committee for the resumption of business.
Because the institution was not conducive for learning purposes, or the environment was not conducive for learning. However, NALOLO Council had paid an amount totaling 518,125,000 kwacha. In the process, actually, these students were withdrawn from the school because of the reasons actually that is been forwarded above. Now, my points of clarifications are these. First of all, I would like to find out whether the due diligence was done to make sure that we were not, or NALOLO could not have sent the students to a school which didn't have a very good environment of learning. That is number one, whether the due diligence was done. Two, at what point were they convinced that this was a good school, and which mode of payment did they use to pay this school? I think for now, maybe Council Secretary, through your chair, can respond to these two questions, then maybe I may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I will ask the Director Planning to respond.
Thank you very much,
Director
Chair.
Planning.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want to submit that indeed, Chair, due diligence was done. It's quite unfortunate that we didn't see that coming, and so we didn't attach the report, but we availed it to the auditors when they came. They saw the due diligence report, and the school was okay according to our report, and the infrastructure was there, everything, the equipment they had, and unfortunately the school chair over-enrolled, and so that compromised on the standards of the facilities they were using to accommodate the students, because we conducted our due diligence during a time when the students had not yet reported, and so they showed us the accommodation facilities, the learning facilities, all which were photos in the due diligence report. And in terms of what guaranteed us that this school was okay for our students, Chair, the school was ably registered by Teveta, and all that documentation was availed, and that's what gave us the hope and confidence that the school would deliver. Then in terms of mode of payment, it was done via bank transfer to the accounts after our students reported, and they issued us with invoices so that we can pay for the students that had reported. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Commander, follow-up.
My follow-up is, having done the due diligence, at what point now did the students withdraw from the school? At what point did they withdraw? And did the students withdraw, or they were withdrawn? And if they were withdrawn, who withdrew them from that school?
Yes, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. I will ask DP to add.
Thank you very much, Chair. The students had stayed in the school for about 2 months in the first term of their, out of the 3 months for the first term. And so there was an outcry of public health concerns, and this issue also appeared on the media, and ultimately the school was closed. That's what necessitated the withdrawal of the students from the training institution. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Kamondo, then Honorable Mitelo.
Yes, thank you actually for that submission. Now, having withdrawn the students from the school because of the closure of the school, which didn't have very good conducive environment for learning, having withdrawn, you decided actually to write to the school so that you can have your refund. And the school responded that yes, they were ready to refund the money. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, yes, you may respond.
Just, is that correct?
Just yes or no?
You are witness.
Yes, Chair, they responded, but they wanted us to meet and agree on the figures because according
yes.
to
No.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes, they responded.
Thank you. You will come to that. We have followed actually your case very well. Now, the school responded, and they also responded that they were ready to refund, and they were also going to deduct for the 2 months that your students actually stayed at that school. I think that is where I was also coming to. We know that, and actually your members here of the committee have read that. Now, after they responded to that, they were waiting for you to sit down. Did you make an effort to go to that school so that you deduct what was spent and you get back the money from this wasteful expenditure? Did you do that? And secondly, so that I just finish my questions, you have submitted in your action taken report where you are suggesting that the students now should go back to that school when the school has been reopened because things now are better. Did you consult the students that they are ready to go back? First of all, why didn't you get your refund? Why didn't you go back to them to get the refund from this wasteful expenditure? Now here in your action taken report, before you finish your application, the first application, which was admitted by the owners of the school, you are now asking your students to go back there, even when they are not actually ready maybe to go there. And also you have alluded to the fact that you have also consulted the CDFC. We want also that evidence where you consulted the CDFC. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. CS, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. The first one on the issue of whether we went to Vavika and had a meeting with them over the refund. Yes, Chair, we traveled there. I personally went there with Director Finance and the internal auditor. So at the time we reached there, we had a meeting with them, but unfortunately they said they didn't have their officers in under accounts office. So they said when the accounts people are available, they'll call us and then we'll go and meet again for the reconciliation of the figures. But before then we could go back, then they wrote to us again that there is this opportunity that the students can come back since now they are officially open. So that's why we took that issue for the CDFC committee to decide. And the decision of the committee was that we consult the students. So we are now at that stage to meet the students to find out from them if they are willing to go back or we continue claiming the refund. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mtilo?
Grateful, Chair. I'm totally sorry. NALOLO. I'm your humble servant from Mitete. Mutelo Mishek. Yes, you've just said that Vavika has written onto you. Where is that letter? Of course, in the submission here, it is saying it has written to local authorities, but in particular, you referred to yourself. Where is that letter? And then you yourself, as management, wrote to CDFC. Where is that communication? So that CDFC committee will make a decision based on what the students, after consulting them, would love to go. However,
the third thing, you as an authority, local authority for NALOLO, after having seen, like you stated, all what happened at Vavika, would you still want to send your students there? Which courses were those students, are they 40 from NALOLO were taking? Because currently what is now being handled by Vavika, they are just how many now? 2. All those 40 were just doing 2. For you to have, Chair, to say we have written to the committee to decide. Meanwhile, now, thank you if it has reopened. With how many courses? 2. Even as top management, those of you who sit in the CDF committee on your behalf, what should have been their advice to the committee?
Yes,
Chair,
yes, you may
thank you.
respond.
Thank you, Chair. The letters we indicated in our report, it was written to local authorities, not specifically to NALOLO. It's one of the letters in the addendum. Then on the CDFC report, I will ask Director Planning to clarify.
Thank you very much, Chair. I maybe want to write on what the CS has mentioned. There are 2 letters in question. In fact, 3 from Vavika. One letter is, 2 of the letters are addressed to us, one of which is attached in Appendix 8. The other letter was written to all the local authorities that had business with Vavika at the time. And it is, I think, at the very bottom of that addendum, there's a tag labeled Vavika letters. And so, regarding the CDF resolution, indeed we took this matter to CDF, and the CDF actually made resolutions that the students be consulted. Chair, we are relying on, like I indicated, that this was a public issue concerning Vavika. It was on TV and everywhere, and so the stakes were high, the interests were high. And so Vavika assured us that the Lusaka City Council that banned them on the sanitation issues had lifted that ban. Teveta that suspended the initial registration had reinstated the registration with 2 courses, like you have rightly said, Honorable Member for Mited. And so in their submission, they indicated that for the other courses which may affect the students, they have a memorandum of understanding with the Lusaka Trust Business College that when we send those students, they will take them to that school at no cost, and that is indicated in that letter, which is in that addendum. And so the other resolution that CDFC made was that, and the CDFC minutes, Chair, in the addendum. Yes, the other resolution was that in case those students were not willing, the offer be extended to other students that may be willing to pursue a course at Vavika, so that that issue can be arrested, because clearly I think we will be doing a hide and search with Vavika, that the money may not be refunded. So this we are seeing as the most viable option to collect that money. I submit, Chair.
The question was, after the going abouts with Vavika, you as management, have you made up your minds to send back the students to Vavika or claim a refund? CS, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. As management, we couldn't make a final decision. That's why we took the issue to CDFC, and then the resolution that the Director Planning has explained is what is sitting. So we'll follow the resolution of the CDFC. We hope that it can quickly be resolved.
How many courses, what courses were these 40 students were studying at Vavika?
Director planning?
Director planning?
Thank you very much, Chair. The courses spanned from electrical, tailoring, computer studies, driving, and all those other courses. At the time, that is what they were offering. But then when they have been reinstated, they have only been registered for 2 courses, because I'm sure Deveta has realized that probably this institution never had the capacity to train all those
And
others.
you had the audacity to go back to CDFC to make a decision, you as management, after seeing that they were accredited for so many courses and they have only been given 2. Let's go to Appendix 8. Yes, CS, you can read for us the programs that Vavika is currently registered to undertake on Appendix 8.
On Appendix 8, Chair, Vavika is registered to offer computer studies and design, fashion and tailoring technology.
Are you in a position still to go and ask management to ask CDFC to make a decision on your behalf?
Chair, why we have taken that, because there's that other agreement, that other condition that Vavika was given to have an agreement with LTB for taking other students that are doing the courses that they are not registered in. They have a memorandum of understanding with the Lusaka Trades where they can take.
That is unacceptable, CS. You are a very learned local government practitioner. A school is not registered to undertake courses, and you still go ahead to give them students for the courses that they are not registered to undertake. Is that reasonable according to you, CS?
Thank you, Chair. Let me ask DP to add on the...
Yes.
Thank you.
Additional Honorable Kamondo. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Admittedly, what is your position, sir? Director of Planning here, he has admitted that this Vavika may not refund this money. Is that the reason why now you have decided even to agree to things that are not even there?
Additional Honorable Mutelo.
I know that the old saying goes as once bitten, twice shy. So you want to be bitten twice, that's when you're shy.
Director Planning.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think your observation is wise. We didn't look at it in that dimension. And so even as we, I think, want to engage the students, we will still resort to pursue the issue of refund. But because really the training may not help us, but those that are willing in the courses that have been registered for, that is computer studies and design and fashion, they may go. But those others, we may have to wait for that reconciliation and ask for a refund. We will take that into consideration, Chair. I submit.
The Ministry of Local Government, you have a comment?
Yes, Chair. There is a comment to submit on this matter. Considering the gravity at which point the institution in question was terminated from its registration, and the number of councils that were affected in the same stream, as also guided by you, Chair, because an MOU with another institution, any council, you don't have a control. the right thing for you possibly is to take those students direct to such an institution. In a worse scenario where there is a proper guaranteeing, is maybe to retain students for the only courses that the regulatory authority has approved of them. Equal on their part, because there was a default on the service delivery to the clients, is to honor up in reconciliation for any periods that were not covered. We thought, Chair, we could guide as such, and we implore on the Vavika or any other training institution, let us not gamble ourselves in what government is doing. It's better to do due diligence of what services we are going to offer, because ultimately, training institutions, they are key stakeholders. We need to see what kind of a country are we building. I think, Chair, we submit as such. The guidance is NALOLO Town Council do the right thing by ensuring that to a limited worst scenario, only students that could have been undertaking those, given that a regulatory institution has cleared them, but other students you can do direct with any other institution. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mtelo.
Chair, too. Thank you so much. To go with NALOLO, even the students that were taking computer and design, fashion, go and ask the students. Go and ask them, like you've put it. If they will say yes, maybe, we are not deciding on their behalf. Go and ask them. But it has already been said. How do you entrust someone who defaulted? Why not go direct? Vavika said, now, okay, we have our colleague here. So why would you still want to go through Vavika? Why not you go direct? Is Vavika becoming an agent for NALOLO local authority? For the other training institution? Is it your agent?
On this matter? Yes, Honorable Kaman.
Through your chair, I would like to have some comfort from NALOLO. What measures have they put in place to make sure that such an occurrence doesn't reoccur? We don't actually discourage our learners, and also we don't misuse money for this country, because the reasons why these monies are coming for skills development is to foster their development so that they can move, and they should move very fast in order to help us in the societies. What measures have you put in place to deter such would-be training institutions which will not maybe meet the capacity, or which doesn't even have the facilities actually to train our students? What measures have you put in place to comfort this committee and most of the Zambians?
What we do, CS, sit on the other chair. Former CS, take that seat there. Let's deal with matters as they were. I have not degraded you or regraded you, but I want us to have the substantive CS was there to take charge of the deliberations, as it were. Yes, feel free also to delegate where you are not able.
Thank you, Chair. To respond to that concern, Chair, a due diligence exercise has been resolved by the CDF committee. That all new training institutions should be verified before the students are actually taken there, Chair. I submit.
You want to add director planning?
Yes, Chair. In the addendum that we have submitted, there is the extracts of minutes for the CDFC that took place, and we had quite a number of applications from training institutions. And so one of the strong points that came out was that we will not approve any new institution that has come on board that we have not dealt with in the past until due diligence is conducted. So that's where we are at, Chair. Maybe that's the comfort that we can ride on. Submit.
Is Vavika an agent of NALOLO from Honorable Mtelo?
Chair, no, it's not. I submit.
I note the counsel from the Ministry of Local Government, but listening from your answers, Director Planning, you made a resolution that you undertake due diligence going forward to ensure that you check that things are properly done. It is your submission before this committee that for the case of Vavika, you went ahead and did due diligence. How do you reconcile what unfolded over Vavika and the new resolution in line of the due diligence that you undertook? Director Planning.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think this is a learning curve, and so what I submitted that we conducted due diligence, but then the problem was the school over-enrolled. That's what resulted into those unsanitary conditions. So because we are very careful now, that's why even the new applications that we are receiving, we are not approving outrightly. Due diligence has to be done. And so in the due diligence we did at Vavika, some lessons have been picked up that will be fulfilled in the next due diligences will be conducted. I wish to submit, Chair.
Before you made the payment, did you undertake M&E to ascertain the head count of the students that had reported at Vavika?
Thank you, Chair. If you look at the time when everything happened, it was within a short space of time, and before we had conducted our monitoring, this whole thing happened. So, Chair, now we have started ensuring that within 1 month after payment, we send the internal auditor to go and check the situation at the school for those that are within reach. For those that are far, Chair, in other districts like Lusaka, Chair, we have not yet started, but we will in the due course arising from what has transpired with Vavika. I submit, Chair.
In short, your submission is you didn't undertake M&E.
Chair, we were in the process of undertaking through Lusaka City Council.
You didn't undertake
No, Chair.
Monitoring and evaluation, not in the process.
No,
it wasn't
Chair.
done.
No, we did not.
We make progress, honorable members. Any other point of clarification? Yes, Honorable Dr. Manza.
We go to page 2. The construction of dormitory block at Nambwaye Secondary School.
Page 2?
Yes, page 2 of the submission. So we'll read it together with page 3 because it is involving one contractor. Page 2, that is Nambwaye Secondary School, dormitory construction. And another project is a mother's shelter at Silowana Rural Health Post. These two contracts were given to one contractor on the same date, 25th January 2023, ending on the 30th of April 2023. The contractor is Tatamweni General Dealers. The first contract, which is involving Nambwaye Secondary School, the dormitory, has stalled for 14 months and the contract was terminated. and no liquidated damages were charged on the contractor. And since then, the works have been retendered, and they are awarded to another contractor, and it is at 95% completion. That is for the dormitory. And then the mother's shelter, the same contractor who was awarded 2 projects at the same time, the same contractor on at Slowana Rural Health Post, the contract has delayed and ended up being terminated after 14 months beyond his completion time. The contract has been terminated, and the major reason for termination is poor workmanship and lack of proper management of workers on site, such as failure to pay obligation to workers employed locally. And so what points of clarification is that a contractor awarded 2 projects at the same time, 2 different locations with the same client. Was due diligence conducted on this contractor in terms of his capacity to handle 2 projects simultaneously?
Yes, CS, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. The Chair, I would like to submit that due diligence was conducted as evidenced in the procurement process that was conducted by the procurement officer, and on the capacity for the contractor to handle 2 projects at a go. Chair, I would like to call upon the engineer to submit on the same. Chair. Engineer.
Before you call upon the engineer, you said the due diligence was done by the procurement. Is it your submission that due diligence was done by the procurement officer?
Chair, maybe I would request for the question to be paraphrased, because
The question was due diligence done for this contractor to have capacity to be able to undertake 2 projects at a time?
Yes, Chair, I was answering on the part of due diligence to mention that the whole procedure passed through the required procurement procedure. And on the capacity, this is where I was asking the Director Engineering then to confirm how the capacity to award 2 projects to 1 contractor was actually attained.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's listen to the Director.
Thank you, Chair. So I think the due diligence the CS is referring to is if the contractor met the specification that were specified in the procurement process. Yes, he did, and after evaluation, the evaluation committee recommended that this particular contractor was feasible to manage both projects at Nambwai and at Slowana. And that's the recommendation which the PC acted on to award these 2 contractors to this recommended contractor for the 2 sites. Chair, submit.
Thank you so much. Before you come in, Dr. Mwanza, I wanted to, there was a submission by the CS then that due diligence was done by the procurement officer. We follow what you submit. In line with what the Director has said, what would be your position now?
Chair, it's the same position.
That it was done by the procurement officer.
Chair, my submission is that the contractor was awarded based on the procedure that is supposed to be undertaken to award a project. I submit.
what you say is on record, and this is why I wanted you to actually clarify. I get the clarity, but we have that earlier submission, and I wanted to find out what was your role, because you had the PC. That's why I said I'll come back to you.
Chair, my submission, I adopt what the engineer was clarifying.
And what you said earlier?
I withdraw, Chair.
Dr. Manza?
Thank you. Of course, due diligence in this matter refers to you are a client, and you are faced with a submission from the various contractors, and then you make a decision to award one contractor 2 jobs, and yet there were other bidders. So due diligence in this case would be to look at what was his past history in terms of handling civil works. And you deal with the client, those projects that he would have listed in his profile, that he did similar work somewhere, you do due diligence to find out without him knowing. Because this is the end result now. When he had these 2 projects, the performance, there was poor workmanship. And beside poor workmanship, the treatment to workers was pathetic. Never paid salaries. These are just meager allowances. Anyway, another strategy that is of interest, when this contractor got awarded to these 2 projects, at Nambwaye as well as Silwane, then at Nambwaye, what happened is a variation. The contract price, the initial contract price was 687,885. Completion period of 3 months. As the occupied site, later there were additional works that were given to this contractor at 278,025 kwacha for the construction of an ablution block. This led to his contract sum to jump to 965,910. At termination, he was paid 85%, almost 88% of the financial obligation to this project. Procurement. When a contractor occupying site and doing the works, then you discover that you need to put additional works. The additional work, the value of the additional work is 40% of the initial contract price. What does procurement, ZPPA, rule specify to award additional works to a contractor whose additional works amounting to more than 25%?
Yes, feel free to delegate.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to call upon the Director Engineering then to provide a response.
Director Engineering then.
Thank you, Chair, for the question from Honorable Dr. Mwanza. Chair, I would want to clarify that particularly for Nambwaye, construction of Nambwaye, a dormitory at Nambwaye Secondary School, there was no variation. The 965 was the total allocated fund for the construction of this structure. So the initial contract sum of 687,885 was the contract sum which included the construction of the dormitory and also the construction of a ablution block.
Yes, Dr. Manza, follow up?
No, maybe let's go to page 2 and follow each other clearly. On 9th January 2023, the council engaged Tatemweni General Dealers to construct a dormitory at Nambwaye, a dormitory block at a contract sum of 687,000 kwacha. So this contract the scope of work was only dormitory block, not what you're saying that it was including ablution block. Then further, there were additional works on page 2. Further, there were additional works of 278,025 kwacha for the construction of an ablution block for 1 month, bringing the total project cost to 965,000 kwacha and 910. So, are you telling us that the 687,885 was including the ablution block and the ablution block? Can you confirm that?
Chair, I want to confirm that yes, the 687,805 kwacha included both the dormitory and the ablution block. And sorry, Chair, we...
No, go ahead. I was just...
Okay.
I was guiding. I wanted Dr. Mwanza to give you a chance to finish explaining.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Chair, we did not attach the actual BOQ for Nambwai. I think it could have clarified the work scope that were detailed in the construction. But the ablution block was attached as an item in the main BOQ for the construction of Nambwai. So the 687,885 comprised of two structures, the dormitory and the ablution itself, which I submitted.
What was the total project cost? Was it the 687 or the 965?
Chair, the total project cost was the 687 and not the 900 and the, not the 965. But then, Chair, if you go to Appendix 1, Chair, and Appendix 1, Chair, you find that there's a letter that we wrote to Ministry for the evaluated 2022 project and also the 2023 project. And if you go to the details of the attachment of the particular project, number 12. So if you go to the attached project list, Chair, number 12, you will discover that the strategy that we are using as NALOLO when approving this project, we are in line with the presidential directive where if we are constructing at a particular school, we would make sure we provide running water there, we provide a flushable toilet if it's a school, and we also provide a building with solar-powered system. So if you look at the breakdown, number 12, yes, number 12 on the list of projects. So if you look at number 12, Chair, you will find that the first project was the dormitory itself, which was supposed to cost, which was estimated at 695,000. And the second project was water, a flushable toilet, which was estimated at 270,000 kwacha, 147,000. So when doing the when conducting the procurement for this particular project, we combined both the toilet. The contractor to construct the dormitory was supposed to also construct the toilet, and that's why they both combined. That's the cost that is coming out to 900 plus. But this contract for both structure was awarded at 680 something.
You do better. You do better. You have actually explained about the story of this project on page 2, and you have referred us to say see Appendix 2. So what we are expected to see in Appendix 2 is the contract between Council and Tata Mweni which should show 685,000 kwacha. And also, because here what the auditors, maybe you misled the auditors, because what is described here clearly shows that there are two separate contracts under the same site. Sure. The first contract signed at 687, sure, only dormitory block, which is confirmed with your table on Appendix 1. Item number 12 is showing. Item number 12 is showing that you reserved 695,763 only for construction of a dormitory at Nambwai Secondary School. So this amount, 695,000, is only for construction of dormitory block, only, not including ablution block. Ablution block has got its own separate item under 12, under subsection of 12A, where you had written 270. So why you are still saying 687 was including the ablution block? Anyway, so there is need to give a contract between council and the Tatamweni for the Nambwai Secondary School, and also at what stage of project implementation did you realize that you need to award the same contractor, or to give him, to notify him to go ahead with the new construction of an ablution block? Because the amount involved is 40% above the initial contract price. So it would have gone to tender to give chance to other contractors, because if it is below 25%, you can deal with the same contractor on the ground. So we need that. So also, what was the termination cost of these contracts? Yes, the termination cost, so that we see whether, because on this project, time is lost, and also want to check whether you accomplished this project within the cost that you had applied, that was approved. So what was the termination cost with Tamweni, so that we relate it with the new contractor who you have contracted now to complete this project?
Yes, Director Engineering then.
Thank you, Chair. If I may be allowed, Chair, if you look at Appendix 1, Appendix 1, Chair, shows the reevaluated. In the addendum that we have submitted, Chair, we have included the cost of construction of a dormitory block then, which was far below what was approved later after we applied for revaluation. This is
how much did you pay the old contractor at termination?
We didn't submit the amount that we didn't attach the amount, but we can provide that information to this committee, how much we paid. But how much was paid was according to the works that were performed up to the time of termination.
Yes, those works that were performed.
Yes.
How much did they cost?
Chair.
Director Finance, do you have that information?
It's almost 30% of the contract sum.
That is how much?
I need to recompute.
Okay, before we go there, I like to follow the submissions. And I was following you, Director Engineering, then. You said, and this is the part that is so difficult for the chair, to follow, especially now when you want to say the Auditor General, what they've written here is not the same as in our contract. And you did well. You took us to an appendix which is showing that the cost of building the dormitory only was 687,000 kwacha. The cost of building flushable toilets only was 270. Yet you are submitting that the two projects were costing 687,000 kwacha. Yet in your management response you are saying we acknowledge the Auditor General's findings, and in your responses here you are disputing. Yet your own evidence is speaking to what the Auditor General found on the ground. Do you wish to clarify on this matter? We are lost. Kindly help us. Director Engineering.
Chair,
especially that you neglected to give us the initial contract and the IPCs regarding this contract management. So we want to rely on your correct submissions. Yes, Director Engineering.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, as I've stated, in the addendum that has been submitted, there is a list of 2022 projects that were area submitted for approval. And if we go to appendix number 1, Chair, that letter for approval is coming immediately after our application for revaluation. And
without going there,
yes,
Director, because that is again added cost you are referring to. I think for us, we are interested in the first contract.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, without you going back to ask for more funds. Number one, the question from Honorable Dr. Mwanza was on capacity. Was this contractor able to execute these contracts? You said yes, but the report says otherwise. You had to retender these works at an added cost to the people of NALOLO, which money you add and you seek to add could have gone to do other projects. But the point that we want clarified is, what was the total project's cost of the two components, the dormitories and the flushable toilets?
The total project cost area before we revaluated was 727,591.62 thousand, which is attached in the addendum that we have submitted. But the revaluated cost.
Where is the addendum now? You're giving us a new figure now. You're losing us completely now.
Yes, yes.
Where is the? We want to find it now. We're interested.
Chair, if I may show you from there.
Procurement, you are there? Where is the procurement?
I'm here, Chair.
Yes, sir. Maybe you can help the director.
On the project.
What was the total procurement for the dormitory and flushable toilets?
Unfortunately, Chair, I'm unable to get through to the minute to show where the two projects are showing. I'm unable to get through to the procurement minute, which is supposed to read the two projects.
Yes. The report is correct, and even the appendix is speaking to what Auditor General picked. Why are you disputing and telling us that the cost for both costed 687,000, when the total cost, both by Auditor General's report and your appendix, is saying 965.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to withdraw the statement by the engineer to mean the two projects are one, and maybe to clarify further to say that I'm sure he meant to say the additional scopes of work were given to the same contractor during implementation of the first project, not necessarily as them being separate, because the re-evaluation was conducted whilst the contract was still running, and additional costs with additional scopes of work, Chair, were added on to the first contract I submit.
Yes, Dr. Manz.
Thank you, CS, for that statement. There's one other peculiar situation with contractors in and your procurement committee. Page 3.
Page 3.
I'll read it together. We can read it together with page 8. So, most of these contracts in NALOLO have ended up being terminated, and due to poor workmanship, as well as abandonment of site by the contractor. And then you retender, procure another contractor who fails to mobilize, and you, like right now, the project at Mulombe Rural Health Post is under procurement, because the first contractor, the contract was terminated. You never claimed damages. Then advertised and awarded to another contractor. The contractor, he signed the contract, he never mobilized. Then you terminated before he even occupied site. And now the project is under procurement. Anyway, an example is on page 3. So, delayed completion of mother's shelter at Silowana Rural Health Post. This contract was awarded to Tatamwe, the same contractor we've been talking about. His strategy is, after he occupied site, then new additional works were discovered on site. That is involving plumbing and solar electrical installations that amounted to 94,810, which made this total contract sum for both lots to increase to 475,475, and also extended his construction period by 1 more month to 4 months. So this contract ended up being terminated, and the management response is on page 4. Management acknowledges findings and wishes to state that the cause of the termination of the contract with Tatamwe General Dealers due to poor workmanship and lack of proper management of workers on site, such as failure to pay obligation. So now management re-advertised, and the contract was awarded to Leo Chris General Dealers. The contractor failed to mobilize, and the contract has been terminated. The process is now at the procurement stage to engage another contractor to complete the project. This is a 2022 funded project. The funds were available by end of 2022 to procure this mother's shelter. And procurement went in through 2023, and now we are being told that procurement is underway, that to find another contractor to. Is this type of project execution? I don't know how to put it, but 3 years you are funded in 2022. Now 2025 you are still procuring to complete this. Wasn't there any other optimal way to complete this project.
Yes.
Did you explore any other ways? And if you believed that this is the best way, you terminate this contract with the contractor who had done almost 80% completion level, then you advertise and you award. After awarding, he fails to mobilize. And this same contractor actually who didn't mobilize is also appearing on page 8. Oh, no, page 8. Is it page where Leo Chris Mulombe? Yes, it's page 6, not page 8. So, page 6, delayed completion of mother shelter at Malombe Rural Health Post. And page 3, it was page 3 was delayed completion of mother's shelter at Silowana Rural Health Post. It's a similar scope of work, which was awarded at Silowana and Milombe. Then the contracts ended up being terminated and re-advertised. Then it's Leo Chris General Dealers was awarded, signed the contracts. You have even put the contracts that Leo Chris signed. And he never mobilized. You ended up terminating. And these 2 rural health posts, they are right now under procurement. All these projects were funded in 2022. So 2 years down the line. How do you rate your performance in terms of contract management, more especially these 2 projects in NALOLO?
2 questions. Was there another optimal way of finishing both projects? And the last one, the current CS, you want to take one? Yes, CS.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to submit that the delayed completion of projects in question, Chair, is indeed regrettable. And I would like, Chair, to submit that it wasn't indeed the intention of management to delay the projects, as evidenced on the auditor's findings on page 19 and 20, Chair, where the council strived to complete the 2022 projects at 71%, and also page 20, where the council strived to complete the 2023 projects at 91%. Chair, I would like to mention that the 2022 projects that the council experienced delays, Chair, were due to 2 issues, one of which was under evaluation that was done at initial stage of the projects. And this led to what the engineer was trying to explain when the council identified that the projects were undervalued and needed more funding to have the projects complete. Chair, these projects are situated in the furthest place of NALOLO district, Chair, and when the projects are undervalued, they bring serious issues. That is why, Chair, we are regretting, and I wish to also submit that management made sure that all these processes were undertaken to re-evaluate and to add more funding to the project so that the projects can complete. And Chair, the projects as we speak are at 95% because of the interventions that have been put in place.
How are the projects at 95% when they are under procurement?
Chair, the stages where the contracts were terminated were almost complete. Only few things were left, and because for some contractors that were actually engaged, they expressed high cost of transport to transport few materials to the site, which was above the finances that were left. So, Chair, we did not see a need for us to continue with the contractors, but to terminate the projects and award to someone who showed willingness to complete the projects within the amounts that were left for the project cost. Chair, I submit.
If the projects were undervalued, why didn't you engage the same contractor to cause a variation within the acceptable range to continue with the contract than to terminate and cause another project delay?
Chair, most of the contractors that we engaged were not willing to go back on site. So, Chair, we could not force them really to go back on site because they expressed unwillingness to continue working on the projects I submit.
If I was listening on radio, I would say the project was on 95%. I would want to believe. 5% remaining works. I've seen on Appendix 2. For example, I want to agree with you that the project was 95%. But if you look at the new contract for the same project signed on 8th October, costing 339,000. Financial progress, physical progress, 5%. Would you say 339,000 is 5% of 965,000? CS?
Chair, I would like to call upon engineer to clarify that.
Engineer
The current director engineering.
Engineer Kabwe.
No, thank you so much, Chair. The reason why it's showing 95% because the additional funds that are required, maybe I'll give an example of the selling board. So under the 2025 CDF projects, we're adding some more funds to these two projects, which is Naskona and Nambwai. Nambwai, the only things that are remaining there are just to put bunkers and mattresses and some door frames. So the contractor is almost done according to the contract, but the 5% will need to come maybe from the 2025 CDF projects.
Without putting in the new components, yeah. Let's talk about just the old contract.
Okay, the old contract, I think in the next 2 weeks, the contract will be 100% done.
At 5% financial progress?
5% financial...
Yes, the remaining balance.
Yes, I'll give an example of maybe Naskona. The only thing that is remaining is just painting and construction of terrazzo, the floor. Right now, the contractor is working on the terrazzo, so by next week, the contractor will be finishing the painting.
You contracted the new contractor at the same price of the 5% that was remaining in the initial contract.
So this is a negotiated contract?
We are looking at the initial cost.
Okay.
No. Director engineering, just yes. Wait, madam. Director engineering. Yes. They are the ones who cause the variations, the BOQs.
So,
yes, sir.
The information maybe, my fellow director maybe can guide me. The information I have is the contract was signed, but there was
speak to the current status.
Yes, the current status.
Yes.
Upon signing of the contract, there was some negotiations between the client and the contractor, which made them remove some items from the contract because of the amount that was allocated for the project. So the items that were removed upon negotiations are the ones we are going to fund under the 2025 CDF projects.
You're giving us the answer we want, except you're going around. Huh? Yes, yes, yes.
Chair, let me add on what Director Engineering is reporting, that when I meant 95%, I didn't mean the financial connotation, yes, but in terms of project completion, the scope only. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mtelo, you had your hand up.
The Chair, thank you so very much. You have 95% work done. No wonder the director was now coming to say renegotiated or negotiated. It's a bit hard to believe that one who would have worked up to 95%, then you want to renegotiate. Such a one will refuse. First, CS, you said within the initial amount, but now director is coming to say the amounts have been done what? Increased. Tapping into 2025. To have this project, this one in particular on page 2 finished. I should think that's the position now. Why? The cost of doing business would have done what? Gone up. The materials as well. Maybe the 95% scope of work and finish is in the addendum, because I would have liked to see how far that 95 has gone. But
Here is the addendum, Honorable.
it's complete. Why would you then deny the one who would have done up to 95%? I know you have answered.
Yes, yes, you may respond.
Yes,
My
Chair.
question,
Just hold on, yes, yes, yes.
Director of Works and Procurement, isn't there a leverage of up to 25% of the total costs, the value of that contract? Isn't there such a thing? Why would you deny someone who would have gone up to 95%?
Yes, yes, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to call upon the current Director Engineering to shed more light on the increase the scope of work now.
Thank you, Chair. I think maybe I didn't come out properly.
Kindly
Okay.
take note of the question.
So, the 95% completed works are, this is the percentage of the measured works currently on site, not the percentage of the building being complete. So the contractor is somewhere around 95-98% for him to complete the scope of works in the contract. But that does not mean that the building will be complete for the health post to start using it, because there are a few items that are already not in the contract, because this contract was negotiated. By removing those two items, maybe I'll give an example of a ramp and ceiling board. So what we've done is, upon the contractor completing, is almost complete, and the additional works went through the CDFC to put additional funds for the ramp and the ceiling board for the building to be habitable. So the 95% is measured works complete on site for the current contract. I submit.
Yes, local government, you wanted to comment.
Yes, Chair. Possibly the comment would be just a guidance to your witness. Contract management cannot be submitted in the absence of vital documents. Just as you admitted that you didn't have the contract, you didn't have the BOQs, so you could not ascertain that amount off cuff. But also take heed to what the honorable members have submitted to you. If a contractor has gone 90, 80, 95% of the scope, and then in your submission you are saying there will be additional finances given on this contract or project to finish it, well, their submission is such a contractor, if they refuse, it's possibly you didn't indicate that you are having additional finances. But if that was availed to them, definitely I think a point of win-win would be arrived at. Let us also make cognizance, especially in some of these districts, your portfolio of local contractors is possibly still sitting very low. So let us not be in a hurry to curtail them, frustrate them, because then tomorrow you're not building any resilience within your district. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Kamunda.
Thank you very much. I'm not speaking to what has already been concluded. I'm speaking to a different subject. I want to talk to page 8. Page 8. This has to do with the business loans diverted into personal businesses. I want to take note that according to the auditors, these people had applied for these loans, and then the funds were used for their personal projects, such as drilling boreholes at their houses, construction of personal houses, and consequently, it was, however, difficult to ascertain how the loans were going to be repaid, since the beneficiaries chose to invest in personal projects instead of approved businesses. Now, we leave it there. We go to failure to recover loans. We take note of that. So my question is, people have defaulted from a period of 7 to 12 months. This one is on page 23, Appendix 9, failure to recover the loans. First, my question is, I want to find out whether those people who diverted their funds into their personal projects like drilling of boreholes, constructing their personal houses, I wanted to find out first of all whether they are among those that have defaulted for the period of starting from 7 to 12 months, where the only amount that has been paid out of 6.3 is 24,000. Then, Chair, the action taken by management, they are saying in the second paragraph on page 23, it is, however, worth noting that loan repayment periods for most of these loan beneficiaries is between 2 and 4 years. Now, how do we put these two things together? One, we have a query of failure to recover loans. That is the query which is coming from the auditors. Now, the council is saying, however, it's worth noting that these loans can be paid in a period of 2 to 4 years. The other question is, are we saying that this query, failure to recover loans, it will continue coming because they still have enough time to pay? Or what are you trying to communicate to the committee? Thank you.
Yes, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to clarify the last sentence being referred to as meaning the council is in the process of undertaking measures to encourage the loan beneficiaries to repay. And Chair, this is evidenced in the attachments that we have provided to show the correspondence between ourselves and the loan beneficiaries to ensure that they pay what they are supposed to pay. Chair, I submit.
Yes, Honorable Commander.
So, would you wish to retract this statement? Because actually it is supporting the above. That's why I didn't read what you have just submitted. The action taken. You are saying you are engaging actually the would-be beneficiaries or the defaulters. But now you also say that, however, it's worth noting that the loan repayment period for most of these loan beneficiaries is 2 to 4 years. So what are you trying to tell this committee? Are you saying it is still okay as long as those people who got loans are not paying, whether they have defaulted for a period of 7 to 12 months, it's okay, because it is within their time that they can pay until that period actually finishes?
Yes, you may respond.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to retract the statement and to maintain that the Council will continue to engage the defaulters, Chair, to pay back the money within the stipulated time frame according to the contracts they signed with the bank. Chair, I submit.
Yes, Honorable Commando, go ahead, please.
So, you have contacted actually these defaulters, and some of them, have they started paying? If they've started paying, how about those that have not even been paying? What measures have you instituted to make sure that they pay? Because in some cases, other councils, they've gone further to write demand notices to these defaulters. So what are your strategies as a council? What is it that you are putting in place, apart from engaging them? You may engage them, but some of them may not actually agree with you. They continue defaulting. Those that will continue defaulting, what other strategies have you put in place?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to call upon the Director Planning to shed more light on what strategies that are being implemented currently.
Director Planning.
Thank you very much, Chair. Earlier in the submission, we had indicated that one of the clubs, the issue is at police. I want to indicate here, Chair, that it was not easy for us to go that route. But after seeing Pika do make that resolution, I think we are given confidence also to march that way, probably to engage the police and recover the funds. But it was not an easy step to take in that direction. But probably that may help and may instill some discipline and fear in those that would want to default next time, or those that are still delaying to make repayment. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mtelo, follow-up.
Secretary, here are people whom you want to empower. Now you are taking them to police. Chair, you want to help these people. Now NALOLO is busy taking them to the police. Where is it stipulated in the CDF guidelines? Where are you getting the authority from to say all the defaulters, take them to the police? Where?
Thank you very much, Chair. Actually, that's why I indicated that it was not an easy decision. The CDF guidelines are very quiet on what we as a local authority must do to defaulters. And so, Chair, we are still accountable. Even if the guidelines are silent, but we are being queried that we have to recover this money at all costs. So in that case, Chair, what can we do? We have to recover the money, and so we are helping the communities actually. When these ones repay, others will also benefit. That's how it goes. So we thought the police way, we instill some discipline in this, and we will have this. Of course, they are our people. We bear with them. But Chair, what can we do?
Yes, Honorable Mtelo.
I hear you. The guidelines are quiet. They're quiet. Do you know why they're quiet? to empower the local. This one, the one you've taken to the police, how many engagements have you had with this defaulter?
Director of Planning?
Chair, any evidence, even in the addendum or here, to show that we engaged? Here are the so many demand notices. Do you have?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to assure this committee that the initial engagements that were conducted before that action was taken, Chair, produced positive results in that the figure stated by the auditors, which is 24,222, as identified in 2022, Chair, we intensified with sensitizations and engagement on one-on-one, and Chair, we saw tremendous improvement in 2024. And in 2024, from the 24,000 that was picked by the auditors, Chair, in 2024, we recorded a recovery progress of 212,300 plus. And also, Chair, in 2025, before we left NALOLO, Chair, we saw an improvement which never used to be there after the engagements. In the first 3 months, Chair, we recovered about 35,000 plus. So, Chair, we want to assure the committee that we have really, we took it serious then, and we engaged all the beneficiaries, and now they are paying. I submit, Chair.
My last question on this one is kindly assure the committee on those that diverted the loans into personal business. We have Ngananiwa Women's Group from Lubosi Ward. Their initial business was piggery. Loan amount 100,000. They shared the money before investing in approved business. Pono Women's Group, Livestock, Lubosi Ward, 100,000, shared money before investing in approved business. P. Mayawa Business, Agriculture, Moyo Ward, 150,000, diverted for personal use. What is the current status of these clubs that you engaged, you advised to change their scope of business? What are they doing? Have they started paying back?
Yes, Chair, by the time I left NALOLO, Chair, they had started paying, but currently I don't know how far they've gone with the payment, the paying back process, and I would like to call upon the Director Finance, Chair, to provide an updated information, Chair.
Director Finance?
Thank you so much, Chair. Indeed, they are paying, and the only evidence that we can provide is the names that are appearing on the bank statements that we have attached as at now.
Honorable Dr. Monza, as we wind up.
Okay, thank you, Chair. It will just be a small, just check how best we can, we need to move with NALOLO for construction projects. On page 3, it's just an example. It's just an example of what happens when you engage a contractor and you terminate and re-engage. This contract on page 3, Silowana Rural Health Post, it's a 2022 funding, and the contract was signed on the 26th January 2023, ending on the 30th May 2023, at an initial cost of 380,665. Of course, the final project cost was 475. And a construction period of 4 months, which means if this project completed in 4 months, would have enhanced health delivery services. The project would have been completed by 30th of May. With an additional 1 month, it would have completed on the 30th of June 2023. And by July this health post would have been providing enhanced health services. But now those enhanced health services have been denied from July 2023 up to date, which we don't even know when this project will be completed because it is under procurement. That is a description of the effects or the impact of not adhering to project completion on the benefits that are supposed to go to society. Now, on the cost, you signed a contract with this contractor at 475,475. And after he was paid 420,000, which is 89%, 89% of the financial, you terminated the contract because of poor workmanship. When he had achieved 89% in terms of financial progress, you terminated the contract and leaving a balance of 54,790 kwacha for this particular project. So you engaged another contractor. And this contractor, the contract was signed at 339,000 kwacha, which is Leo Chris. 339,000 kwacha, which actually meant to seek for additional funding, because the first contract you had made a saving of 54,000 kwacha after you terminated this contract at 88% completion, at 88% financial progress. Then another contractor was engaged. You have to source for 285,000 kwacha. That is what you signed with this new contractor. Subtract what you saved at termination. You have to source for 285,000 kwacha, 161. In your presentation here, you are on page 3, you are referring us to Appendix 3. When we go to Appendix 3, there is no information related to this project. But when I was trying just to check different appendices, I find a contract that you signed between Leo Chris, General Dealers, pertaining to this very rural health center, Solowana. You tried to mislead and hide the information by taking the appendices somewhere, but it was found anyway. So, 285,000 kwacha is being sourced to finance this project, and you are looking at 2025 project of 2025 CDF funding, which the completion might be in October, November this year, 3 years down the line. From this scenario, what do you think council management should have done better that you did not do on this particular contract in order to optimize the three principles of timely delivery of a project, quality, and the cost? From all this scenario, you have already compromised on time. Time is 3 years, of which you are not even sure as whether this year it will be. And then the cost has gone high. And then the quality has already been compromised, because at termination, the structure is of poor quality. So this one who is coming to complete, is completing a project which is of low structural integrity. So the quality is already compromised. So you have failed on all these 3 C's, the 3 principles, TQR. What do you think you would have done better what do you think you would have done better in order for you to optimize the TQC?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to submit before this committee that arising from the gaps that have been identified, Chair, we have taken note of the guidance from the ministry on the subject matter, Chair, and we have also taken seriously into consideration the counsel that has been given over the matter by this committee. And Chair, I don't know if I may be right to speak on behalf of NALOLO now, but I'm sure, Chair, as a team, we have taken note of the council, and we are going to make sure that this project is implemented and the concerns and the council is put into consideration by relooking at the contract, Chair, and doing the right thing now, Chair. I submit.
You can swap seats so that the current CS can also comment for NALOLO now.
This habit in terms of project management, where
you can swap the seats now.
This
and kindly turn off the microphone.
This habit of terminating contracts when they have reached above 80% is not correct. You better sit the contractor and negotiate and chat, because procuring another contractor is as a result of the cost escalation. On page 5, you find that on page 5, you have terminated this contract for Nasikona, a maternity wing, when the contractor was paid 88%, and you terminated the contract. And the reason for termination for this one is very interesting. The reason for termination, you are saying, the reason is on page 5, management response. You're saying management acknowledges the findings, wishes to submit that the cause of query is due to the termination of the contract because the contractor did not interpret the drawings on the ground correctly, due to lack of skilled workers to handle the contract. Just from this contractor, you paid him 60% of the contract price. So one would ask, when you are saying that the contractor did not interpret the drawings on the ground, which means he did not set the building according to the plan. He compromised dimensions or something like this. But later you have a financial progress of paying more than 60%. One would ask, what type of scope of work did you certify as correctly done according to specifications guaranteed you the payment of this 395,000 kwacha? When your management response, you are saying the contractor did not interpret the drawings. If failure to interpret drawings, which means it's failure to adhere to specifications. So how did you pay the 400,000 kwacha? What was it for? And failure to interpret drawings, engineers always communicate with the contractor. When the contractor occupies site, when he wants to set the drawing on the ground, the engineers must be present to confirm the dimensions. And he starts digging the foundations, all major works, the office is informed. That is why there's that monitoring and evaluation vehicle that was bought with at least for, it would have actually gone to build houses or even water services, but that vehicle is there to enhance project monitoring. In this situation where you are saying now in the offices just to say the contractor did not interpret the drawings, and yet you paid 400,000 kwacha, you paid for what?
Yes, Director Engineering then.
So, sorry, Chair, maybe I can respond to that. I think I should have stated at the beginning that we rephrased that response, that we realized there was some error in it. So the cause of query is non-performance, not all those other details that were in there. Please, my apologies.
Can you comment
yes, Chair,
on what the former was commenting on?
Yes, Chair. As
we want to get your assurance as the current CS.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to assure this committee, Chair, that the advice that you have guided in this house will take note. We have really taken note, and going forward, I think we'll improve on our contract management with our contractors. It is an assurance that Chair will do our best and will always stick to what is right. I know it's a learning process, but we have learned now. Thank you.
Honorable Mtelo, you have something burning?
Chair, thank you very much. We understand you. We understand the challenges. We appreciate. But we can do better.
Whether it's Layo Chris,
Was this contractor paid? The second one. That's why he failed to mobilize. Don't forget we are trying to build capacity. Then you have retendered. How have you done this retendering? Where's the procurement yourself, sir? How? You can take it to Director of Works, but you were giving him the answers.
Thank you, Chair. This procurement is supposed to be done through the EGP, and I would want to highlight some bit of the challenges that we've had in pertaining to the same project. Chair, this project has taken long to finish.
Just there. Now they want again to put it through EGP.
That's the procurement.
Thank you, Chair.
So take your time.
Procurement, if I were you, I would be looking at the CS.
Yes.
I want to manage my time. We are going to spend another 10 minutes with what you want to open. And I didn't call upon you. I know my honorable member. Allow him to finish talking. Then I'll call upon the substantive officer.
Chair, I end here. But if they are going to go the EGP way,
yes,
this project will go into 2026. I'm currently in NALOLO. If I want to appreciate the challenges, then this project will go into 2026.
This procurement, you have something burning to submit to the committee?
Chair, I think we have taken note. We'll follow the right procedure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, CS. I want to use the words of the former CS. We have noted the gaps and we'll put in measures. We are worried as a committee on delayed implementation of community projects. Some emanating from lack of technical advice and engagement to the contractors. Laying out of a drawing. The director engineering must be present before, and these are clauses, standard clauses in the contract. Before you go to the next stage, you must seek for written permission from the contract manager, who is in this case the director engineering. Meaning that once the building is set, the contractor is supposed to call the director engineering to come and ascertain, confirm it to the specifications, and then a go-ahead is given. When this is not done, this is the result: contract delay. And this is not attributed to the contractor, no. It shows lack of M&E. You, the council, are the originators of these contracts. So, CS, most of these contracts have delayed because of lack of M&E. Unfortunately, the delay is coming at a huge cost on the part of government. Ministry of Local Government. I like to think loudly as I sit here, listen to the answers. The lawyers call themselves learned counsel. I can attest that most of our colleagues who are engineers are very intelligent people. Just to do the ADMA, the mathematics, and pass and become an engineer, it means you're very intelligent. And so we want to rely on our engineers in this country to improve the standards of living of our people using this current CDF. Our relatives in all parts of the country do not have amenities: mother's shelter, maternity annex, so that no one is delivered at home, but proper health infrastructure. But unfortunately, our engineers, you are letting us down. All the witnesses that have appeared today, we have issues with our engineers. We need to step up. We go to Rwanda today, you find that that country that is coming from war came to Lusaka City Council, got their master plan. You go and see Kigali, very beautiful, because they have a committed human resource, technical human resource. Here, as long as we get paid, it's okay. Government has given us CDF monitoring vehicles, fuel, administrative costs. We always find ways to give ourselves allowances and neglect the core duties why these vehicles were actually bought. My friend was talking about the 3 KPIs. Colleagues, this is our country. Today we are privileged to sit in these offices. For us, we are proud to sit in this committee. Our term of office may come to an end this September, but we have a duty to ensure that you, our colleagues, do the right thing. We do not take pride to sit here and ask you questions. You are the experts. Some of us don't even have the technical know-how of how these things are done. But CS, no one will come from Mars to come and improve the service delivery of this country. We didn't have the resources that are coming to the local authorities now for service delivery. Imagine we had the equalization fund, even with the 20% capital component, we couldn't provide amenities for our people. The government has gone an extra mile to give us CDF in various components. We're still failing the people. Can we step up? Stepping up in all the areas. Look at the case of Vavika. CDF skills bursaries. Empowering our brothers, our children with a life skill. Number 1, to empower the individual. Number 2, for the individual to start a business. When they start a business, they will have disposable income at household level. When that business grows, if they don't have capital, there's the CDF loan component. so that that individual is able to expand their business. In return, they employ others, create employment within the district. The long-lasting solution there is improving the lives of the people within the district. As a council, we take these students to an institution that is not accredited by TAVETA, offering courses that are not examinable by the institution. Why not go directly to institutions that offer these courses? We have so many institutions in this country. So the task before us, CS, is huge. Let's take a heart. Let's take a heart. Like I said, we're privileged to be in these offices. For me, I'm very emotional today because what I'm seeing really is saddening. You can't terminate a contract at 95%. And here you come and call it 95%, yet you remove certain components that were in the original contract. Again, the challenge is we have CDF 25, which is supposed to go to other activities in 2025, but we'll be going back to projects that should have been implemented in 2023 and costed government, at optimal price. But because of our delays that are caused by us, the technocrats, for motives we don't want to speculate, but surely we can do better. And we can do better. The immunity is uncapped. Go and work on the gaps. That is the only way we can summarize this chat, but it's a very sad affair. Yes, very sad affair. Former director engineering, I hope you're not doing the same way of.
Well, thank you so much for being with us on Parliament Television. This is where we come to the end of today's committee meeting, where the local government accounts has been receiving submissions from 3 local authorities. We started with Mulobezi, which was followed by Mwandi, and we've concluded the day with NALOLO. So my name is Paul Sentindovi on behalf of my 2 sign language interpreters, that's Jason Manda and Chola Kauma.